Good evening. Thank you for attending tonight's forum featuring the Palatine Township Board of Trustees. My name is Lizzie Clinard. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of the Palatine area. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that neither supports, opposes, nor recommends candidates for office. The League was founded here in Chicago in 1920 in order to help educate and inform the new female voters who had just won the right to vote. Providing this forum enables members of the community to become better informed about the issues facing our community and the candidates running for office. We are so pleased to offer this service to you. We would like to extend our sincerest thanks to Bev Elderman, a library associate, and Roland Medrano, a technology specialist at the Palatine Public Library, whose help and technology have made today's forum possible. Bev and Rolando are the co-hosts today and will be operating this webinar. During today's presentation, all audience members will be muted. We will not be using the chat or raised hand features. All questions for the candidates have been submitted by the audience at the time of registration or from local nonpartisan organizations. Before we get into the forum, we have a brief poll for our audience. Please take a moment to indicate how you heard about this evening's forum. Thank you. Now I'm pleased to introduce our moderator for today's forum, Maria Peterson. Maria is a member of the League of Women Voters and a trained moderator. Thank you for being here, Maria.
Thank you, Lizzie. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be with you this evening to moderate this candidate forum. As a resident of North Barrington, I am not eligible to vote in this election, so I have been asked to serve as an impartial facilitator for this discussion for the League of Women Voters and for yourselves and the community. Let me take a few minutes to explain the format and the rules of the forum. All the candidates were contacted by mail, email, and phone and have agreed to abide by the ground rules provided by the League of Women Voters. They are as follows. If you recall last week, we drew numbers to determine the speaking order. I will rotate this order during the forum for questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their opening statement. When we complete the opening statements, we'll go on to questions and 1 minute per answer. At the end of the questions and answers of that particular question, if someone has a rebuttal, you may have a rebuttal, but only for 30 seconds. A maximum of 2 rebuttals are allowed. At the end of the question and answer, you will each have 1 minute for a closing statement. Our timer is Angie Amelise, and she'll be showing cards of 1 minute. Hi, Angie. Do you want to show the cards? Well, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and stop. Thank you. After the 15-second warning, please complete your thoughts before you see the stop card. You will be muted at the end of the 15 seconds or the stop card. And time limits will be enforced so that all of you, there's 8 candidates, so we want to make sure you all have your opportunity to answer your questions. Speaking of questions, a lot of excellent questions were submitted for tonight's forum by audience members and local civic organizations. Each question will be answered by each one of you candidates. Questions have been reviewed for clarity, appropriateness, and to avoid duplication. We ask that you do not interrupt each other, that you keep your screens on and keep your cell phones down. This evening will be taped for the League of Women Voters use in educating the public A video of this forum will be available early next week on the League of Women Voters of the Palatine area website and the Palatine Library District website. The candidates have agreed to this. No campaign signs, buttons, or partisan materials may be visible on screen. No voice, image, or other duplication of the form may be used by a candidate's representative or campaign in any campaign advertising. The League of Women Voters claims copyright ownership of all the recordings or transcripts produced from this event and reserves the right to publicize this forum. And we will have in the chat the League of Women Voters website so that you can check it out next week or later this week. All right, let's begin. Last week, we determined the order of names. So the first speaker to give his opening statement will be Bill Pullman. You have 2 minutes, Bill.
Hi, I'm Bill Pullman. I'm running for re-election as a township trustee. I moved into Palatine in about 1980, actually probably a year or two earlier than that. I immediately got involved in the community. I joined the JCs, I joined the American Legion. I'm a member of the Rotary. I've been involved with just about every organization within Palatine Township. I on a Cinco de Mayo at POC until they started with the COVID issues and that. So, I mean, I've always been involved with the community and I love Palatine Township. I am a fiscal conservative, so I am trying to make sure that we don't overspend. But I mean, the organizations that I've been involved with, I mean, I've co-chaired the St. Patrick's Day Parade. We collect money for journeys at that parade. So, I mean, everything I've done has been to try and get money into the community to help these social service organizations. So I believe in helping the organizations, but I also don't want to overspend. So I'm finding a blend between the two. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Deanna Santman, you have the floor. 2-minute intro, please.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Palatine Library and the League of Women Voters for hosting this event tonight. My name is Deanna Santman, and I'm running for Palatine Township Trustee. I'm excited for you all to get to know more about me, about what I value, and about the ideas I have to assist the future success of the township. So why do I want to get involved in the township now? I'm currently a homeowner of Palatine. I reside here with my husband and our 11-year-old dog, Chewy. Last year, my husband and I became licensed foster parents. While doing research about different non-for-profits supporting the foster community, I learned that some agencies receive support from the Palatine Township. This is where my involvement in the township began. For my day job, I'm a sales manager for a local bank and specialize in creating banking solutions for small businesses. I'm certified as a women in business advocate. Something I have always been extremely passionate about is diversity, inclusion, and transparency. Because of these values, I'm on the board for my company's Women's Connect Employee Business Resource Group. I am also a member of our local Pride and Latino organizations. It is my goal to evaluate the current budget and see how we can allocate all funds to residents, agencies, and programs supporting mental, physical, and financial assistance. In the last 2 years, the fiscal report shows that the township has assisted over 30 agencies. That being said, over $50,000 of allocated budgeted funds went unspent. Looking at what the current seat members are doing, I was shocked at the lack of planning, budgeting, and representation. If the township's motto is people helping people, are the current members doing everything they can to help all people in need? What sets me apart is not only my background in finance and leadership, but also my love for serving others and bringing communities together for the betterment of all. Again, thank you so much. My name is Deanna Santman, and I'm running for Palatine Township Trustee.
Thank you, Deanna. Michael Smolka, please. Excuse me, 1 minute, Michael.
Yeah.
Christine, we need you on the screen, please. Thank you, Christine. Okay, Michael.
All right, good to go. Good evening. Thank you to League of Women Voters for having us here this evening. I had an opportunity to participate in a League of Women Voters forum 4 years ago when I first ran for office, and it was a great opportunity to connect with our voters. So thank you for that. Again, my name is Mike Smolka. I'm a 26-year resident of Palatine Township. I graduated from Fremd High School and received my associate's degree from Harper College. I then went on to Chicago State University, where I got my undergrad in marketing, where I played baseball as well. After my undergrad, I went on to Roosevelt University, where I got my MBA with a concentration in integrated marketing communications. And then after working in the corporate world for a decade, I decided, why not go back to more school? So I got my law degree from John Marshall Law School, and I'm the owner and principal attorney at Smolka Law Group, and we're based in Palatine, and our focus is in domestic relations matters. Currently, I'm serving the community on the District 15 School Board, where I was elected in 2017. I served 2 years as your vice president, and the last 2 I've been the liaison between the 1-5 Foundation and the board. So as the liaison, I need to announce that if you haven't already gotten your 50-50 raffle tickets, drawing's in a little over a week, so go ahead and get those. As I mentioned, I played baseball in college and still am active in that world. Although not playing much these days, I am on the board of Palatine Community Baseball and Softball as a committee chair of our training and development program and our part-time N60 Pride travel program. So I plugged D15, now I'm gonna plug PCBS. We still need some coaches. Drafts are this weekend, so go sign up at pcbs.fun and get out there and coach. So I reside in Palatine. I have 2.5 kids. I have a 12-year-old boy, he's in 6th grade, and I have a 2-year-old little girl, and the half is one that's due, a little girl due at the end of July, beginning of August, so we'll be expecting her soon. And wrapping up, it's been a great honor to serve this community on the school board, and while working through the COVID pandemic with our schools has been extremely challenging, it's also been very rewarding. And it shows that we as a community are capable of. I look forward to the opportunity to continue to serve this amazing, wonderful community for the next 4 years, just in a different capacity. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. We go on to Megan Gawlik.
Hello, and thank you to the League for hosting this debate tonight. My name is Megan Gawlik, and I'm a homeowner in Rolling Meadows. I am running for Palatine Township trustee because the board needs new leadership that is willing to work together, reach out to different communities, and seek to meet their needs. By day, I'm a middle school social studies teacher with past experience in the amusement industry, helping small businesses grow. I've always been interested in government and doing big things on a small budget. Last April, I worked with a Rolling Meadows alderman to advocate for a reallocation of funds to increase the temporary family assistance program. The term reallocation is important here. Whether it's a small business or government body, there's always better, more efficient ways to spend money. A few weeks later, I was approached by a community member to consider running for the township board. And in reviewing the township's budgets, I was shocked that in the fiscal year 2019 to 2020, the township only paid out 8% of its unrestricted home relief fund. And frankly, I was angry. You see, my husband and I have served as the kitchen coordinators of the St. Colette pad site for the last 3 years. The face of suburban homelessness is incredibly diverse, and I understand this population well. So when I saw that $48,000 that was supposed to go to families in need to help pay for rent, utilities, and medical care, that was left unspent, that $48,000 wasn't just a number to me anymore. It was so vividly attached to the faces of the people that I fed. The mom and the dad with 2 kids under the age of 2, the woman in her 20s who was simultaneously undergoing cancer treatment while sleeping in my church's basement. That money that the board left on the table could have kept people in their homes. We can't allow our elected officials to keep this laid back approach to serving our community. It's time for new leadership, new ideas, and new outreach. So that's why I'm running. I'm all for eliminating wasteful spending, keeping taxes low, because when you look at these budgets, there's a lot of administrative overhead to cut. I look forward to a fruitful conversation tonight. Again, my name is Megan Gawlik, and I'm running for Palatine Township trustee.
Thank you, Megan. We go on to Leslie Bolanos. You need to unmute yourself, Leslie.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Leslie Bolanos, and I am running for Palatine Township trustee because I love Palatine. I've been a Palatine Township resident for the past 30 years, and I want to make this community thrive for another 30 years to come. This spring, when our youngest son graduates, I will be able to say that all 4 of us will have graduated from William Fremd High School. I graduated from Illinois State University with a degree in finance, and I live with my husband, Craig, and our 2 sons, Connor and Gavin, in Inverness, where my husband and I also own a small business located within Williamsburg Village. Over the past few years, I have been logging miles via Meals with Wheels, delivering food to our local seniors, along with being an active board member of the District 211 Chiefs Hockey Club. In my professional life, I have spent countless hours overseeing the daily operational functions of our financial advisory business. As the Chief Operations Officer, one of my key roles is to bring to fruition ideas that are brought to me. Throughout the office, we have a motto that says, if it's not broken, then break it, as you need to seek constant improvement if you want to stand out in a crowded field. My personal motto at the office is no idea is too small, and certainly no idea is ever too big. My role demands analytical, managerial, communication, and leadership skills that I believe will also come in handy as a trustee. Professionally, I know what it means to be a good steward of our clients' resources, and as your trustee, my job is to take the fiduciary pledge into the public domain. While fiscal conservatism may have been lost on a national stage, there is no reason that we cannot run our township in the same way we run our own homes' personal budgets. If the money is there, we will allocate the funds to the most impactful place for the whole of the community. On the other hand, if the monies aren't there, then we will strive to better optimize our resources to help free up allocations as opposed to asking those in our community to pay more. I know that with my professional background and my unwavering commitment to help those in need, that I can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. We move on to Nathaniel Groh.
Good evening. My name is Nathaniel Groh. I'm running for Palatine Township Trustee. First off, I would like to thank the League for hosting this event and thank everybody that has come to see us tonight. My background is in community organizing and government service. Previously, I served as the district office director for State Representative Mark Walker. There, I had the opportunity to see firsthand the power of good governance and the power of an elected official who is willing to listen to the local community and ensure every voice is heard and every issue addressed. I've seen firsthand how this inspires people to vote and get involved in the democratic process. I have seen this firsthand. It has become clear to me that the current leadership of the township have become too committed to solving the issues of 8 years ago and maintaining the status quo than they are meeting the needs of the moment. There are so many of them, and COVID-19 only being one. We have climate change, we have polarization, we have poverty and unemployment. Each of these are issues deeply rooted in our local communities and society at large. We must start here at home as neighbors. I believe there are active steps the township can take to building this good governance and breaking the apathy that exists among the electorate. And I look forward to just discussing my vision with you this evening. One last point that I'd like to mention. You know, I grew up watching Mr. Rogers and in some sense idolizing him and the kindness that he showed toward the world. And throughout this campaign, I have asked myself, how can I work to be a better neighbor? How can I work to spread the kindness and bring light to the darkness of our modern day crises? I ask you, won't you be my neighbor? Thank you again for joining us this evening. My name is Nathaniel Groh. I hope to earn your vote.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Christine Svenson.
Good evening to all. Thank you to the League for hosting us tonight. My name is Christine Svenson, and I am running to represent you and our community as a trustee on the Palatine Township Board. I'd like to start out by telling you why I am running. I am running because right now, we as a society and we as people, we're at a crossroads. We as individual citizens are facing incredible challenges with this pandemic. And unfortunately, the pandemic has already hit the disadvantaged in our society harder than everyone else. This right now is the time for government to be there for these people and step up and assist those most in need. I have a unique insight into these issues based upon my personal background, work experience, and the volunteer roles that I've been honored to serve in our community. Just a brief bit about my background, which makes me well qualified for this position. I am a Northwestern University graduate who grew up in neighboring Barrington. I have been a 25-year practicing civil litigation attorney, specializing in family, employment, and election law matters, with both an office and home in downtown Palatine. I've proudly represented people of all walks of life in their pursuit of justice for many years. I believe in the power of volunteerism and community service as incredibly important vehicles to help those in need when government cannot. I've been humbled to be a board member of Journeys the Road Home, a local nonprofit whose mission is to help the homeless and the near homeless while broadening community awareness. I've also volunteered in a legal capacity for the Willow Creek Care Center and Battered Women. I've driven groceries to seniors through Northwest Compass. Through these activities, I've come to know personally that Palatine Township is a special place with amazing residents. We need to continue the responsible financial stewardship of our current board, but while at the same time continuing to serve the so many deserving of our services.
Thank you, Christine. Well, excuse me, yeah. Okay, Thakar, Basati, please. Unmute yourself and just remember that once the stop sign goes up, we will mute you because there's 8 of you. We want to give everybody fair time, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I hope it's not too late. Yesterday was International Women's Day. I want to say Happy International Women's Day to all of you. And thank you to the League of Women Voters and the Palatine Public Library to hosting this forum. I'm Thakar Basati. I'm running for the Palatine Township Trustee. I have lived in Palatine since 1991. 2 of my children went to Palatine Public Schools. For more than 30 years, I worked in the hospital in patient care. More than 20 years, I have been coordinating the activities of the senior citizens of my community. I'm the founding member of Partners for Our Community. We will call it POC. I'm the founding president of Punjabi Cultural Society of Palatine. That has completed 26 years. I have worked with the interfaith groups a lot, and I'm also active in Asian American Coalition of Chicago. While working with all these organizations, I'm known to be a team player, problem solver, visionary. So once again, my name is Thakar Basati, and I'm running for the Palatine Township Trustee. Thank you.
Thank you, Thakar. Okay, first question is going to Deanna. And the question is, what gives you the experience to audit bills, levy a tax, or manage a budget? And by the way, what is the current budget of the Palatine Township? If you can be specific, please.
Yeah, great question. And thank you so much for asking that. So one of the things that I would be able to do and how I'd be able to serve the community is, like I did say in my intro, I am in finances. So that is my background. I do have a strong background in being able to analyze budgets, to look at where we are spending things and to look at how we are spending things in a better way. So one of the things that I really think needs to be done before we go any further is if elected, I would really like to do an independent performance audit. The reason for that is in analyzing the budget, I do see that last year we reported $1.8 million in reserves. And so my question is, where is that money going to, or where can that money go? I'd also like to really dig deep into social services and see how we can allocate funds better to serve the community and those agencies that we are currently representing. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael.
So kind of bringing it back to the question, I think the question was, what gives you the experience to manage a budget? So from my standpoint, for me, I run and operate my own business. I have one employee, so I handle the books on a daily basis. Books are the lifeblood of any business, and they are the lifeblood of our government as well. If our books aren't on, and if we're not understanding what's going on with our books and how that budget is allocated, I think we're going to have a lot of issues. I think the current Republican township government that is in place right now is doing a good job of budgeting the money and spending less money than actually is levied. So having said that, with regard to that as well, I have been an elected official, and I was elected by this community in 2017. One of the big goals with District 15, one of the big things that we do on the District 15 board is to audit and to review our budgets, to budget for $150+ million budget across 112,000 residents. So my experience is such that I've been in it on the government sector for 4 years already, and do it on a daily basis in my day-to-day operations of my company.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Megan, and if anybody needs me to repeat the question, please ask.
Thank you. So to answer your question, beyond the levy, the budget is broken down into 3 different budgets: general assistance, needy family, and the town fund. What particularly allows me the experience to handle these budgets is when I worked in the amusement industry, I served as the general manager for 2 different small businesses. And for those of us who've been in small businesses, we know that you wear several hats. Every dollar matters. Also, I served on my college RHA board, where I managed a budget, one of $40,000 to $60,000 per year, and then a capital expenditures of over $100,000. And also in that role, I made over 100 amendments to our Constitution. So if you are elected with me, prepare for some long board meetings, because there is a lot to go through with this budget with a fine-tooth comb, not only with an audit that's required for any government agency, but with a true back to front look at what services are we offering and where are each of those dollars being spent, because that's not something that I feel that the board is serving residents in the right way at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Leslie.
Well, first off, I graduated with a degree in finance where I took numerous accounting classes, and I was also the treasurer of numerous organizations at college. A budget should not only reflect income and expenses, but it definitely should reflect how the organization's mission statement, goals, and objectives relate to the township. And I truly believe that looking at it will help narrow down if we need to do something to make it more balanced. However, I feel that our current budgets are quite balanced and fiscally responsible. And that will allow us to keep our taxes low and even. However, I do feel that in my field, I also at work watch over a budget, and it's about the same amount. Now, in regards to where we can find the budget, you can find it on the Palatine Township website. And Megan mentioned there are 4 different types of budgets.
Thank you, Leslie. Nathaniel.
Yes, my background in community organizing and government service makes me perfectly qualified for this. I ran multiple large campaigns where I've actually had a budget, but the thing is, with campaigns, you have a budget only until the day of the race ends. So you have to build up from the bottom and go from there. So I know how to look at a budget, know what I can get the most out of it in a short period of time, as long as the long term. I also manage the representative's budget on a day-to-day basis, and that was a straight budget. We had no income, or it was a government straight budget. So I do believe the current board has $1.8 million in a rainy day fund. That's 81% of the levied amount this year. They've taxed you at the max for many, many years in order to get this in. This has been one of the rainiest years in our lifetime. We have to invest in our community, and I think the township can do a lot more. And my experience makes me perfectly fit to identify the problems and find out solutions.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Christine.
Thank you for the question. So yes, I've had intricate knowledge working with large budgets. In my work life, have been an equity partner in a law firm. I now run my own law firm and manage those expenses. And most significantly, my work with Journeys the Road Home as a board member. I mean, we are going through line by line, the line items to get to provide very similar services with Journeys as the township would provide. And so I think that experience translates extremely well to also, balancing our budget, getting the best social services to the people in need. In addition, I've been hired by townships to represent them. So I have an intricate working knowledge of how townships work. And I believe that our Republican slate really has a leg up because we have the experience in governance for the most.
Thank you, Christine. Thakar. Unmute yourself.
Okay, before buying the house in Palatine, I had a business in Palatine that I started from scratch. At that time, Northeast Palatine by Dundee and Randall, it was all unincorporated. The area behind Bueller YMCA, it was all unincorporated. Mayor Rita Mullen, she annexed all that area. So the responsibility of the township has gone way down, but the township has not reduced its budget accordingly. And whatever the budget they have, it should be spent on the need-based criteria. In pandemic, I have not seen the township coming out to support the community. They have instead increased their savings to earn 0.5% savings, the interest rate. So I think the township needs to come out and help the community when it's needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Thakar. And Bill. Unmute yourself.
Okay, first off, Megan was wrong. There are multiple. We have the town fund, we have general assistance, and we have the road district. Yes, there is the needy family fund, but that is a totally different area, and that's not something we have control over. As far as the issue goes, as far as the amount of money we have in the reserve, we are required to have roughly about 10 months worth of money in reserve. That's basically to cover us in case there's some kind of a calamity that ends up happening. So that is the main issue as far as the budgets go. As far as transferring money goes, we are limited as to how we can transfer money and the amount of money that we can transfer. So, you know, there's a difference between a budget for a business and a budget for a township or any government entity. So that's one thing that the new board will have to learn.
Okay, thank you, Bill. We'll move on to the next question. Civility and ethics have become serious issues in all units of government. Palatine Township in particular behaved badly enough that a paid parliamentarian has been brought in at taxpayers' expense. What are your thoughts on this situation and what would be your solution? We'll begin with Michael.
I think I'm unmuted. Am I unmuted? Yes. Okay. So with regard to civility in meetings, I think that that's extremely important. You know, on the District 15 school board, we have 7 people that are on the board, all with different political views and political ideology. The board meeting is a place to have public discourse. Public discourse moves us forward. When the meeting ends, we continue to move forward and we continue to move the township forward, be it in whatever capacity we are and wherever we're sitting. Civility is important across the board. And I think a parliamentarian is also there to keep the meeting running forward. I can't discuss because I don't know, because I wasn't on the board with the ongoings that happened before. I can tell you that with regard to any kind of discourse and civility that goes on, it is important, but public discourse is also important as well. And I think that that's a focus that we need to continue to stay on. And the new board coming in, I think, will be able to do that.
Thank you, Michael. And please do address the issue of that a parliamentarian is brought in at the taxpayer's expense. We'll go on to Megan, please.
Thank you. To be frank, the current board should be embarrassed that they spent taxpayer dollars hiring a parliamentarian. If you have listened to the public meetings or attended one, you would also be embarrassed. The current board is not what we should hold our elected officials accountable to. The slate that I am running on, the Democratic slate, is a tight-knit group who is willing to work together. And when it comes to the involvement of the slate, we also have the ability to reach out to the public. The low attendance at public meetings shows that the current board is not reaching out to the community. They're too focused on fighting with each other. And that is something that we need to change.
Thank you, Megan. And we go on to Leslie.
I do believe that ethics is a very big thing that needs to be held in all organizations. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe a lawyer of some sort is supposed to be at all meetings. So a parliamentarian is the cheapest way to go if in regards to having to push that through to our taxpayers. I also believe that this current slate has eliminated anything that will create animosity amongst the board. There are numerous other past board members who have been removed and not asked to rerun for that purpose. And I believe that that has been eliminated with this new slate.
Thank you, Leslie. Nathaniel.
Do you mind repeating the question again for me?
Sure. The question is, civility and ethics have become serious issues in all units of government. Palatine Township in particular behaved badly enough that a paid parliamentarian has been brought in at taxpayers' expense. What are your thoughts on this situation and what would be your solution?
Yeah, well, my thoughts are that that's sad to hear. And my solution is vote for me and vote for our slate. We're running on a united, transparent, and innovative focus. We've shown in everything in our pursuit that we can work together and that we can represent you. Together as a team, we can increase community engagement. We can build upon the work that we're doing now and do even more. So right now, I ask you for your vote, and yeah, I think that will be our solution. Thanks.
Thank you. Christine?
So thank you. Civility and ethics are cornerstones of our society, and I take them both incredibly seriously. I, of course, as an attorney for 25 years, are subject to high ethical standards, and I've been, proud to represent my clients and abide by those standards. I will say this: when I was asked to participate with my slate, I vetted them all, and I am proud to serve with my entire slate. I know that they have the highest standards of ethics and civility. Thank you.
Thank you. Thakar.
Okay. Thank you for the civility and ethics. I think they are very important for any community, any organization. And one of my strong points is work across lines and bring people together. Everybody knows the animosity between India and Pakistan, but I'm a co-host here for Global Punjabi Milap, where we bring together the people of Punjabi origin from both Pakistan and India. So being a community activist and also working for so many organizations, my strong point is that you need to look at the positive values of any human being. So we can work together, and we should be able to keep our heads up and say, I do represent you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill.
Sorry, keep having to unmute myself. Listen, I've served on a number of boards over the years. And the biggest thing is that every board needs is somebody, my picture's not up on the screen at this point.
You are on screen.
Okay. Every board needs somebody that's going to question things. And that's one of the things that we've had happening on our board. With our organization, we have a lot of extreme fiscal conservatives. We have some moderates, and we have some basically liberal type of people. So when you come down to a question, there's always going to be discourse as to what's going on. One of the things that we started doing this year or this last regime was we started having a committee of the whole meeting. Basically, what all of the issues that we're talking about in advance, we're talking about them at the committee of the whole meeting, so we can get most of the questions out of the way, most of the issues out of the way before we go to the.
Thank you, Bill. And Deanna.
I'm going to go back to Megan's point. And Megan's point was that we as a township should be embarrassed that we had to hire someone using our taxpayer dollars to moderate. I'm going to even say the childish actions that the township had during their meetings. I have attended several of these meetings. In fact, I'm going to point out one of the things that someone said during one of the meetings. While I was sitting there, they said, "Do you even know how to read?" when talking about something that was getting ready to be passed. That to me, as a member of the township, was embarrassing. We talk about ethics. Part of ethics is being transparent. And the current board is not being transparent. Their website is extremely hard to read and not updated often. I'm also going to say that when it comes to ethics, right now, the big issue is COVID-19. I attended the Republican slate open house. There were people there not wearing masks, not social distancing. I attended board meetings. They were not wearing masks.
Thank you, Deanna. Okay, we're really tight on time, but I really want to get this question out.
Can I have an opportunity to rebut, please?
Yes, you have 30 seconds.
Yes, thank you. Two quick points. One, to Megan's point with regard to low public attendance. As a member of the school board who has a $150 million budget, I would love for more people to attend publicly. I would love it. So anybody who wants to come out, please come out to be participating. Secondary, with regard to Deanna's position on the COVID with our open house, everyone was wearing masks except when they were eating and drinking. There was social distancing going on. So that's a complete misrepresentation of the truth.
I would like to rebut as well. So I understand that government has a hard time getting people involved, but I have seen it firsthand whenever a government official takes active steps over the long term to build a relationship with the community, you can get engagement. So it demands that together we build the good governance necessary to get people involved. And I can tell you that this township has not done that. They have not built that up. And I, as a community organizer and government official, will spend every single day doing that.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Okay, we're going to ask one more question. We're going to go over time because I think this is really important. So most residents don't know what the township actually does. Speaking on the heels of what you're all saying here, how can the township get the word out about the services it offers, and what sets it apart from the village? How can the residents access those services? And we're going to begin with Megan.
Thank you. So as discussed, there is a large budget line item for social service agencies. The township, our slate, would increase transparency and communication with those organizations to truly create a partnership instead of just sending out a letter once a year or just paperwork back and forth. Truly having a strategic marketing plan, both on social and in paper, so that we're reaching all of our different audiences. The website undoubtedly needs to be updated on day one. There could be an easy chat feature. I was talking to a resident who was in her 70s who said she could not find the answer on the township website, so she drove in the middle of the pandemic to the township. There could be an easy chat feature. It costs $17 to $20 a month where they can chat back and forth with someone who is working administratively at the township. Also, I feel that the location of the township building itself is an issue. It's in one of the wealthiest areas of the township. We should look at the cost benefit analysis of moving the township services, whether it is a.
Thank you, Megan. We go on to Leslie.
So communication is a very big thing, especially in local government, because you have many different areas that you need to reach all at once. The current township does have a quarterly newsletter that is mailed. I do believe that maybe it needs to be translated into another language so that the people another part of the town could read it if they were having issues with the English version. I also do believe that the more we communicate, the more we get out there, that people will be more aware of our services and will be able to use the assistance programs that we have budgeted for that aren't being used currently because people aren't asking for the assistance. And maybe that is just because they don't have the communication, and we need to improve communication. The website, we know that's a problem. We are going to go ahead and try to update that, and it should be updated. And we all know that, and we agree with that.
Thank you, Leslie. Christine. I'm sorry, Nathaniel. Nathaniel goes now.
Do you mind repeating the question again? You're muted.
It even happens to the moderator. Most residents don't know what the township actually does. How can the township get word out about the services it offers? What sets it apart from the village? And how can residents access those services?
Yeah, I like to explain this whenever I'm knocking doors. I like to explain this to people as the township is really an organization that is designed to fill in the gaps for all other levels of government. So if the village, if the state, and if the county, as well and the federal government cannot handle this, then it is the township's responsibility to step in and try to fill those gaps. Now, I think that there's a lot of things that the township can do. And first and foremost, we need to increase our intergovernmental cooperation. We need to work with the county, we need to work with the state, and we need to work with our villages to better service the people. And one thing that I've seen, and I've heard, and I've spoken with the county commissioners in the area, that the current board has not been reaching out for a very long time and has dropped the ball in COVID-19 response. And that to me is depressing. We needed a board whenever this crisis came along that was ready on day one to work with every single level of government to make sure you're serviced well. And that's what I'm going to do as an elected official, as trustee.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Okay, Christine, now it's your turn.
Thank you. So there's no doubt that communication and getting the word out is a huge challenge for us. And so we do provide a broad range of services that villages cannot do, the state cannot do, and they are incredibly important. We need to actually reach out to more ethnic groups. through churches and homeowners associations. I also, I'm a linguophile, and I agree. I think it's very, with Leslie, I think it's incredibly important to publish these newsletters in other languages. So yes, we can do a better job. We provide, I mean, I definitely, through my work at the Willow Creek Care Center, I mean, when I inform people about what the township can provide to people, I mean, they are in awe. They have no idea, a lot of them, about these services. So we need to partner up with our community organizations in a better way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thakar.
All right, now, you all heard about the website, how bad it is. And I also, the second way township communicates is a newsletter. I got a newsletter from the township last week that says free COVID test at POC. I called POC. They said the test was done only in February, not in March. So why is the township sending outdated material? There's a family in Palatine where the husband did not have a job for a year. He committed suicide last month. Wife doesn't have a job. 17-year-old boy in the house. They don't know where to go. They have never heard about the township. There's a guy who's a taxi driver. His business is down. He's on the verge of losing house. He doesn't know what the township does. So many people who lived here for 30, 40 years, they don't know what township does. There need to be better communication and better diversity so that people are not afraid of going to the township. Thank you.
Thank you, Thakar. All right, we go up to Bill.
Okay, everybody seems to be talking about the things that the township doesn't do. There's a lot of things that the township does do. Okay, during COVID, we had issues with the food pantry. And instead of having people coming into the food pantry, we had the bus drivers, all the employees from the township came in and started putting packages together. The bus drivers, since they couldn't actually be doing much with the bus during transportation, they were delivering the packages to the people that couldn't come to get them. We end up doing roughly 900 Thanksgiving baskets every year. We're going to probably do 200-300 Easter baskets. We work as far as putting up backpacks together for kids, that need backpacks and school supplies. Before COVID set in, we were one of the few places where the kid could come in and actually pick out what color paper he wanted, what color pencils he wanted. So we bend over backwards to help the community.
I'd like to rebut.
You'll have to wait till all the candidates have had a chance to answer. Thank you. All right, Deanna, please.
So I think we can all agree that communication is big and it has to be better within the township community. We don't have representation, and this has been said before, of where the people actually are. So why are we not, as the township, going to the people? It is really hard for some of the residents who need access to these funds to even know how to get them or even have access to them because they don't have transportation. Are we offering for admins to go to places like POC, on a monthly basis and help fill out applications? That would be something that would be really helpful. I'm also going to note that the food pantry is something that the township does do. And during the height of COVID and still now, they did close Saturday hours and they did limit their weekday hours, which is just frankly unacceptable, especially because we need as a community to come together during this time.
Thank you, Deanna. And Michael.
So the township does provide a lot of the social services. So I think a lot of the community knows what the township does, doesn't realize it's the township. I think people recognize the food pantry and they see the buses providing transportation for our senior citizens. They just don't realize that it's the township government and not the village of Palatine that's providing those services. With regard to what can the township do better, I would agree that the website needs some updating. I was on the District 15 Communications Committee where we rebranded the entire district. We got a new website. Each elementary school and junior high got new websites. It was easier to communicate with, and I think that is important. I will concede to that. With regard to COVID and communications, nobody was ready for it on day one. Nobody expected this to be happening. Your school district, your local government, your neighbor, your employer, they were not ready for it on day one. And I think the township did a good job, along with other village governments, to keep the services needed in place for those people who needed them. So, I look forward to rebranding the website and making sure that the communication is better. And I look forward to those opportunities.
Thank you, Michael. Does someone have a rebuttal? No? Okay, then we'll go on to closing statements. You have 1 minute for a closing statement, and we'll begin with Leslie. You're on mute, Leslie.
There we go. Okay. First, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting on such an informative event for the community. And I'd like to thank everyone who attended via Zoom tonight. During a time where many are staying home to protect themselves, an event like this is so important to keep our town informed. So again, I thank you all. With my 2 boys going in college, it is now my time, it is my opportunity and my desire to represent you, my fellow citizen, by serving as a trustee for Palatine Township. I love this community just like you do, and given the chance, I will be steadfast in my pledge not to raise our taxes and to ensure that our vital aid programming remains robust and supports those that are in need. I need your help to keep those promises, and I'm asking for your vote, whether it be in person or by mail on April 6th, for myself and the Republicans United for the Taxpayer. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Leslie. All right, Nathaniel.
Thank you all so much again for joining us this evening. Again, my name is Nathaniel Groh. I'm running for Palatine Township trustee on the Democratic slate. Tonight, we talked a lot about how much reform needs to happen and how much innovation that it will take to get there. Together, I believe that we can do more. And I believe that the Democratic slate has put forward people that are willing to go on day one to prepare for the next crisis. And I am promising today that I will vote against any measure that says that we will raise taxes. The township has already been given enough money, and your dollars need to be held and held safe. So on day one, we will be ready to fight for you. Again, I ask you to be my neighbor. We need to be better neighbors to one another during these very difficult times. And together, I really think we can make a better day and a better future for ourselves and our friends. Thanks.
Thank you. Christine.
I'd like to thank you, the voter, my slate, and the opposing slate of candidates for a rigorous debate of the issues tonight. It's been a true pleasure to speak before you. I want to let you know that I take the responsibility of this position of Township Trustee very seriously and would be humbled to serve in this capacity. In closing, we as trustees need to continue to provide the same wonderful services to the disadvantaged in a timely, organized fashion at no additional cost to the taxpayer. We need to continue to stretch every single dollar, and at the same time, we cannot impose any additional tax burdens on our citizens. My slate and I, my entire slate, has proudly stated, and I will reiterate here, that we pledge to provide the same great social services to those in need while not raising your tax levy by one single penny. I once again ask for your vote on April 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Thakar.
Okay. Thanks again, League of Women Voters and all the audience for the great questions. If elected, I would like to go reach across the lines and get the community engaged in serving the residents of the township. Public transportation is at the core of my heart. Right now, the township food pantry senior center is basically no car, no service. Palatine Township needs public transportation badly. I work with the United Palatine Coalition, and they have a survey that shows how much the township can benefit by providing public transportation. Once again, my strong point is bring people together and work on the positive values of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we go up to Bill.
I finally got the hang of how to unmute this thing, and it's too late. I'm Bill Pullman. I'm running for re-election as a Palatine Township trustee. As I said earlier, I've been involved in this community for 30 some odd years. I love Palatine Township. I'm involved in just about every organization that's out there. But as I said, I am a fiscal conservative, and I want to make sure that, we've sworn that we will not raise taxes. But if there are ideas out there that how we could serve the community better, I'm open for them, and I would more than thrilled to tears to try and implement some of them. If you would, please vote for me on April 6th. I would appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Deanna.
Again, thank you for joining us tonight. I am so proud to be on the Democratic slate representing these wonderful people. As we are approaching Election Day, I would like to reiterate the need for change, the want for new ideas, and the desire for more inclusion. My goal is to listen before acting. I plan to reach out to residents and meet them where they are. It is important to know the pain points we are facing in the community and look at innovative ways to solve those problems. We still have a lot of work to do, and I know that if I'm elected, we are one step closer to a township of inclusion. The township has been running things the same way year after year after year, and there's so much more that deserves to be done. Thank you so much for your time. Again, my name is Deanna Santman, and I hope to earn your vote in the April 6th elections.
Thank you, Deanna. And we go on to Michael.
Once again, thank you to the League of Women Voters, Palatine Public Library, and to all of you who have joined us today. It's been a pleasure to serve you for 4 years as your elected official on District 15 School Board. With COVID this year, I had an opportunity to do something for the first time, and that's build a garden in my backyard. And I was able to produce an excess amount of vegetables, and we were able to drop those off for the food pantry. And to see the amount of people that needed help has changed my perspective on getting into the township government outside of the school board. So I look forward to the opportunity to serve you for another 4 years as a trustee on the township board. Our slate is pledged not to raise your taxes, and hopefully we can cut those taxes, but we pledge that it will not be a penny more. So on April 6th, I look forward to your vote and hope to serve you for another 4 years.
Thank you. And Megan.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone who's been a part of this tonight, especially those viewing at home. Doing the full research of your ballot is such an important part of your civic duty. I also want to reiterate again that I'm proud to be a part of the Democratic slate, and I am proud to say that I will not raise your tax dollars. But it's not just enough to say that I'm not going to raise your tax dollars. I do believe that there's administrative overhead that can be cut from these budgets, and that when we are levying those tax dollars, we need to put them to good use. We should not be leaving money on the table, especially money that is meant for social service agencies. And the way to do that is to reach out into the community and truly be a part of the community, not just a trustee who sits on a board a couple times a month in a room with 5 random residents, someone who is going out into the community and meeting the residents and their needs where they're at. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, and with that, we conclude our Palatine Township Candidate Forum with the League of Women Voters and the Palatine District Library. I want to thank each and every one of you because it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there, and thank you for being here tonight with all of us. I'm going to pass the microphone, so to speak, back to Lizzie.
Thanks, Maria, and thank you to all of our candidates. We'd like to encourage all of our candidates to recycle any campaign signs and the members of the public to do so as well after the election. You can visit our website for details. And if you're not a registered voter, you can find registration information on our website as well. We are going to end this webinar so that we can get reset for the next forum, which will be the Palatine Township Highway Commissioners. That will begin at 8 p.m. and we hope to see you then. You can use the same link that you used to get into this one. Just give us a little bit of time to refresh our candidates and get set up for you again. On behalf of the League of Women Voters and the Palatine Public Library, thank you for coming. Don't forget, early voting does start March 22nd. Lots of election information on our website. And thank you for participating in our democracy and casting your ballot. Remember, your vote is your voice. Have a good night, everyone.